I'm so glad you found your way here. Your subconscious is filing memories right now while you rest, deciding what to keep, what to blend, and what to tuck away in secret places. You'll discover where your mind hides forgotten moments and understand why some memories feel closer than yesterday. Welcome to Psychology for Sleep. Now settle in. You're in your safe space while your brain quietly repairs itself, clearing toxins, preparing for tomorrow. Allow yourself this moment of peace. We'll journey through 100 psychology facts about who really controls your sleeping mind. From the moment consciousness fades and hidden systems awaken, to the ancient intelligence that guides your dreams, to the truth about surrender and healing that sleep reveals every night. This thoughtful journey through consciousness builds bridges between searching minds. A gentle subscribe, like, or sharing your thoughts creates a pathway for more sleep seekers to discover this sanctuary and brings us closer to protect this peaceful space. One sleepy soul at a time. Your journey inspires ours. Let yourself settle completely here. Feel your jaw unclench, your breath deepen naturally. You can let these thoughts drift past without holding them. Sense that soothing heaviness enveloping you, like your consciousness slowly dimming its brightness. Thoughts dissolving into peaceful fog of approaching sleep. Safe and undisturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're floating where memories rest safely in gentle darkness. Let your mind merge with infinite peace. And now we begin. Your conscious mind doesn't control you when you sleep. It disappears entirely. Within minutes of falling asleep, the prefrontal cortex, that voice of reason and decision-making that guided every choice you made today, begins to power down. Brain imaging studies from 2024 using high-resolution fMRI show metabolic activity in this region drops by nearly 45% during deep sleep stages. This isn't malfunction, it's design. Your prefrontal cortex has been working since you opened your eyes this morning, filtering thoughts, making judgments, controlling impulses, planning your next move. Sleep is when it finally gets to rest. But here's what's fascinating. The moment your logical brain steps aside, something else steps forward. Other systems, older and wiser than conscious thought, take command, and they've been waiting all day for their turn. The moment you fall asleep, control shifts to your brainstem, one of the oldest parts of your brain in evolutionary terms. This structure, no bigger than your thumb, sits at the base of your skull and has been gently guiding sleep for hundreds of millions of years. Long before humans developed language, logic, or self-awareness, research published in Nature Neuroscience in late 2024 mapped the precise neural circuits in the brainstem that initiate and maintain sleep states. These circuits don't need your permission. They don't consult your plans or preferences. When adenosine levels reach a certain threshold and circadian signals align, your brainstem simply flips the switch. You can fight it for a while with caffeine or willpower, but eventually, this ancient controller always wins. Your conscious mind may make 1,000 decisions each day, but sleep isn't one of them. Adenosine is the chemical that literally controls when you feel sleepy. Every moment your brain cells fire, every thought, every movement, every heartbeat, they break down ATP, the energy molecule, and adenosine is left behind as a byproduct. Think of it like exhaust from an engine. Throughout your waking hours, adenosine accumulates in your brain, binding to specific receptors that slow neural activity. The longer you stay awake, the more adenosine builds up, creating an increasing pressure to sleep. By bedtime, adenosine levels in your brain are roughly 8 times higher than when you woke up. This isn't something you can control through willpower. It's pure biochemistry. Your brain cells are literally swimming in sleep signals, and your brainstem is reading those signals like a thermostat reads temperature, adjusting your state of consciousness automatically. Caffeine doesn't give you energy. It blocks the receptor sites where adenosine tries to dock. Imagine adenosine as a key trying to unlock the door to sleepiness, and caffeine as someone jamming fake keys into all the locks. Recent studies from 2024 show that caffeine molecules are structurally similar enough to adenosine to fit into the same receptors, but different enough that they don't activate the sleep signal. Here's the crucial part. Caffeine doesn't remove adenosine from your system. The sleep debt keeps building underneath. When caffeine wears off after 4 to 6 hours, all that accumulated adenosine floods back to the receptors at once. This is why the caffeine crash feels so sudden and overwhelming. You weren't restoring energy. You were just postponing the inevitable surrender to sleep's chemical control. Your sleep is controlled by 2 completely separate systems working together. The first is sleep pressure, which builds with every hour you're awake through adenosine accumulation. The second is your circadian rhythm, an internal 24-hour clock controlled by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny cluster of about 20,000 neurons in your hypothalamus. This clock doesn't care how tired you are. It tracks light exposure, meal timing, and temperature patterns to determine when your body should be awake or asleep. Research from Stanford's Sleep Lab in 2024 demonstrated that even if you removed all adenosine from someone's system, their circadian rhythm would still create windows of sleepiness and alertness at predictable times. These 2 controllers, sleep pressure and circadian timing, normally work in harmony. But when they fall out of sync, as happens with jet lag or shift work, you feel the conflict directly. Light exposure controls your sleep through a pathway you can't consciously perceive. Your eyes contain specialized cells called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, discovered only in 2002, that have nothing to do with vision. These cells detect blue wavelength light and send signals directly to your suprachiasmatic nucleus, bypassing the visual cortex entirely. When blue light hits these cells, especially in the morning, they tell your brain it's daytime, suppressing melatonin production and increasing cortisol. Recent research from Johns Hopkins in 2024 found that just 10 minutes of bright light exposure in the morning can shift your entire circadian rhythm by up to an hour. You don't see this happening. You don't feel it consciously. But these specialized cells are controlling your sleep-wake cycle every single day, responding to light patterns that existed long before artificial lighting changed our world. Melatonin doesn't make you sleep. It signals darkness to your body. This is a crucial distinction most people miss. Melatonin is produced by your pineal gland, a pea-sized structure deep in your brain, in response to darkness detected by those specialized light-sensing cells we just discussed. When melatonin levels rise, usually starting about 2 hours before your natural bedtime, they don't force unconsciousness. Instead, they open what researchers call the sleep gate, a window when falling asleep becomes easier. Studies from 2024 published in Sleep Medicine Reviews, confirm that melatonin supplements work best for circadian rhythm disorders like jet lag, but have minimal effect on sleep quality in people with normal circadian timing. Your body already produces melatonin perfectly well on its own. The real controller isn't the hormone. It's the darkness that triggers it. Your body temperature drops by about 1 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit before you fall asleep. And this cooling is controlled automatically by your hypothalamus. This isn't a side effect of sleep. It's a prerequisite. Your circadian rhythm triggers vasodilation in your hands and feet, releasing heat from your core to the environment. Brain imaging studies from 2024 show that the preoptic area of your hypothalamus actively initiates this cooling process. Like a thermostat turning down the heat, you've probably noticed you sleep better in a cool room, ideally around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. That's because it helps this natural cooling process. When your core temperature is too high, your hypothalamus delays sleep onset. Regardless of how tired you feel, you can't consciously control your core temperature. This ancient system in your brain manages it for you, deciding when conditions are right for sleep. The moment you fall asleep, control of your breathing shifts from voluntary to automatic systems. During wakefulness, you can choose to hold your breath, breathe deeply, or hyperventilate. Your motor cortex and conscious mind have input. But within seconds of sleep onset, your medulla oblongata takes full command, setting breathing rate based purely on blood, oxygen, and carbon dioxide levels. Research from MIT's Sleep Lab in 2024 demonstrated that this transition happens during the descent into stage 1 sleep. Often before you're even aware you're falling asleep, your breathing becomes rhythmic, regular, and perfectly calibrated to your metabolic needs. You might occasionally sigh in sleep, an automatic recalibration reflex, but you no longer have any say in the pattern. Your brainstem is breathing for you now, just as it did before you were born. So what's controlling your mind when you sleep? The answer is already beginning to emerge from these facts. It's not a single system, but a symphony of ancient neural circuits, chemical messengers, hormonal signals, and automatic processes that have been refined over millions of years of evolution. Your conscious mind, that voice you think of as you, is actually just the most recent addition to your brain, the last layer on top of far older systems. When you sleep, these deeper systems don't just take over, they reveal themselves. They've been there all along, quietly managing your heart rate, temperature, breathing, and hundreds of other processes. Sleep doesn't introduce a new controller. It simply allows you to stop pretending you were ever the one in charge. And there's profound peace in that realization. Your brain has an entire network dedicated to keeping you awake, called the Ascending Reticular Activating System, or ARIS. This network originates in your brainstem and extends throughout your brain, releasing wake-promoting neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, and histamine. Think of it as the accelerator pedal keeping your consciousness running. New research from UCLA's Sleep Disorders Center in 2024 mapped how different nodes in this network activate in response to stimuli, a loud noise, emotional stress, or even an exciting thought can trigger a cascade of arousal signals. But here's what's important. You don't control this system through willpower. You can't simply decide to feel more alert or less alert. The ARAS responds to inputs, chemical, sensory, emotional, and determines your arousal level automatically. When you try to force yourself awake when you're exhausted, you're fighting against this system, and it almost always wins. In 2024, neuroscientists confirmed the existence of what they call the sleep switch, a specific group of neurons in the ventrolateral preoptic nucleus, or VLPO, that actively inhibit wake-promoting systems. When these VLPO neurons fire, they release GABA, an inhibitory neurotransmitter that essentially tells your arousal systems to quiet down. It's like a dimmer switch for consciousness. What makes this fascinating is that the sleep switch and arousal systems inhibit each other, creating what's called a flip-flop circuit. You're either awake or asleep, with very little in between. Your conscious mind doesn't flip this switch. Adenosine levels, circadian timing, and homeostatic sleep pressure activate these VLPO neurons when conditions are right. The switch flips itself. You're just along for the ride, experiencing the transition as that blurry boundary between waking and sleep. Stage 1 sleep is the moment when conscious control gently fades without you noticing. This stage lasts only about 5 to 10 minutes and feels like drowsiness. That hypnagogic state where thoughts become dreamlike and your body occasionally jerks awake. EEG recordings show your brain waves shifting from alert beta waves, 13 to 30 Hz, to slower alpha waves, 8 to 12 Hz, and then to even slower theta waves, 4 to 7 Hz. During this transition, your thalamus, the relay station for sensory information, begins filtering out external stimuli. Sounds and sensations that would normally alert you start to fade. Your motor cortex releases muscle tension. Recent studies from 2024 using real-time brain imaging captured the exact moment, conscious awareness fragments. Thoughts stop following logical sequences. You're still somewhat aware, but you're no longer directing your attention. Control is slipping away, and your brain is allowing it to happen. That sudden muscle spasm that jolts you awake just as you're falling asleep has a name: a hypnic jerk or sleep start. About 70% of people experience these regularly. And research from 2024, published in Journal of Sleep Research, suggests they happen when your motor cortex misfires during the transition from wakefulness to sleep. One theory is that as your muscles relax rapidly, a primitive part of your brain misinterprets this as falling and sends a signal to catch yourself. Another theory suggests it's simply neural static as wake systems power down. Either way, you don't control these jerks. They're involuntary, often embarrassing if you're trying to fall asleep next to someone, but completely harmless. Your brain is testing the boundaries between control and release, sometimes overcorrecting. It's learning to let go. Stage 2 sleep is where you spend about 45 to 50% of your total sleep time. And it's characterized by two distinct brainwave patterns your conscious mind could never produce intentionally. The first is sleep spindles, brief bursts of rapid brain activity, 12 to 15 Hz, that last only a second or two. The second is K-complexes, large, slow waves that suppress cortical arousal and keep you asleep despite external stimuli. Research from Harvard Medical School in 2024 demonstrated that sleep spindles are generated by the thalamus and play a crucial role in memory consolidation, transferring information from short-term to long-term storage. You're not aware this is happening. Your thalamus is working in the background, deciding what to keep and what to discard. The controller during stage 2 is this automated filing system, reorganizing your mental library while you rest, unconscious and unaware. Stage 3, sleep, also called slow wave sleep or deep sleep, is when your conscious mind becomes most irrelevant. Your brain produces delta waves, the slowest brain waves at 0.5 to 2 Hz, which look like rolling hills on an EEG. During this stage, your prefrontal cortex is almost completely silent. Blood flow to your brain decreases, and your body enters a state of profound rest. Waking someone from deep sleep is difficult. They'll be disoriented and confused for several minutes. Studies from 2024 using transcranial magnetic stimulation found that the brain's ability to integrate information across regions drops dramatically during deep sleep, which is why you can't form coherent thoughts or memories during this time. Your brain has essentially disconnected higher-order thinking. What's left in control? The brainstem, managing vital functions. The hypothalamus, regulating temperature. Systems so old they don't need consciousness to work perfectly. During deep sleep, your brain does something remarkable. The space between brain cells expands by about 60%, creating channels for cerebrospinal fluid to flush through and wash away toxic waste products. This system, called the glymphatic system, was only discovered in 2012 and has been extensively studied since. Research from the University of Rochester in 2024 showed that neurons slightly contract during sleep, allowing fluid to flow through expanded pathways and clear out beta amyloid, tau proteins, and other metabolic debris that accumulates during waking hours. This cleaning happens automatically, controlled by your circadian rhythm and sleep pressure. You can't will your glymphatic system to activate. It only works during deep sleep stages, and it works best when you sleep on your side. Your brain is literally taking itself to the car wash every night, and you're not invited to supervise. While you sleep, your hippocampus replays experiences from your day at high speed, deciding what to save permanently and what to discard. Neuroscientists can actually record these memory replays using electrode arrays in animal studies. In humans, fMRI studies from 2024 show that the same neural patterns that fired during learning reactivate during sleep, but up to 20 times faster. This process, called memory consolidation, strengthens some neural connections and weakens others. You have no conscious input in these decisions. Your brain uses complex algorithms based on emotional significance, repetition, and relevance to existing knowledge. A boring meeting might be discarded. A meaningful conversation might be permanently encoded. The controller deciding what version of today you'll remember tomorrow, an automated system you'll never consciously perceive. REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, is when your brain becomes as active as it is during waking, but you're paralyzed from the neck down and experiencing vivid hallucinations we call dreams. This stage was discovered in 1953 by Eugene Aserinsky and Nathaniel Kleitman, and we're still unraveling its mysteries. During REM, your pons, a part of your brainstem, sends signals that paralyze your voluntary muscles through a pathway called the ventromedial medulla. This paralysis is protective. Without it, you'd act out your dreams. Meanwhile, your visual cortex, limbic system, and association areas activate, creating bizarre narratives from random neural firing. You don't choose what to dream. Research from 2024 suggests dreams are your brain's attempt to make sense of semi-random activation patterns, weaving them into stories. The controller here is chaos itself, creativity without conscious intent. During REM sleep, your brain processes emotions with the logic centers turned off. The amygdala, your emotional center, becomes highly active, while the prefrontal cortex remains quiet. Studies from UC Berkeley in 2024 demonstrated that REM sleep allows you to re-experience emotional events from your day in a safe, low-stress neurochemical environment. Norepinephrine, the stress hormone, is almost completely absent during REM. This lets your brain form new associations and perspectives on emotional experiences without triggering the fight-or-flight response. You wake up with emotional distance from yesterday's stressors, not because you chose to let go, but because your brain chemically processed them during REM. The controller managing your emotional health isn't your conscious coping strategies. It's this automatic overnight therapy session your brain runs while you dream. You just have to sleep. Your sleep follows a predictable cycle roughly 90 minutes long, moving through stages 1, 2, 3, and REM before starting again. You cycle through this pattern 4 to 6 times per night, but the ratio of stages changes as the night progresses. Early in the night, you spend more time in deep sleep. Later cycles contain more REM sleep. This architecture is controlled by what researchers call the ultradian rhythm, distinct from your 24-hour circadian rhythm. Recent 2024 studies, tracking thousands of sleep cycles, found this 90-minute pattern is remarkably consistent across cultures, ages, and sleep environments. Your conscious mind plays no role in orchestrating these cycles. An ancient timer in your brainstem is running the show, transitioning you through stages with the precision of a carefully programmed sequence. You're just experiencing the ride. Throughout the night, you briefly wake up, sometimes dozens of times, but usually don't remember it. These micro-awakenings, lasting anywhere from 3 seconds to 30 seconds, happen during transitions between sleep stages or in response to minor disturbances. Sleep research using home EEG devices in 2024 found that the average adult has 10 to 30 of these brief awakenings per night. Your ascending reticular activating system momentarily checks if everything is safe, listening for threats, assessing comfort, scanning for problems. If nothing urgent is detected, you drift back to sleep so quickly that no memory forms. Your brain is running security checks all night, a vigilant system left over from ancestors who needed to detect predators. You don't consciously decide to check your environment. This ancient guard never sleeps, even when you do. During REM sleep, your brainstem sends signals down your spinal cord that inhibit motor neurons, effectively paralyzing your voluntary muscles. This mechanism, called REM atonia, is controlled by neurons in the pons and medulla. Without this paralysis, you'd physically act out your dreams, which can be dangerous. Research published in Brain Journal in 2024 identified the exact neural circuits responsible for this paralysis and discovered that damage to these circuits causes REM sleep behavior disorder, where people punch, kick, or even run in their sleep. Your eyes can still move, hence rapid eye movement, and your diaphragm continues breathing. But every other skeletal muscle is locked. You don't choose this paralysis. Your brainstem imposes it for your protection, understanding better than your conscious mind that dreams and movement should never mix. Your body temperature continues to drop throughout the night, reaching its lowest point around 4 to 5 a.m., then gradually rising toward morning. This temperature curve is controlled by your suprachiasmatic nucleus and helps drive the sleep cycle forward. Your hypothalamus adjusts blood vessel dilation, metabolic rate, and even where you position your limbs to manage heat loss. Studies from 2024 using continuous core temperature monitoring found that disruptions to this natural temperature rhythm, from sleeping in a too warm room or using electric blankets, significantly reduce deep sleep percentage. You don't consciously regulate your temperature during sleep. You might pull blankets on or kick them off during brief awakenings, but the underlying temperature orchestration is automatic, controlled by systems far older than your capacity for conscious thermostat adjustment. Your body knows the ideal temperature for healing, and it pursues it without asking permission. These observations reveal a clear pattern. Sleep doesn't steal control from you. It reveals that you never had as much control as you thought. During waking hours, your prefrontal cortex creates the illusion of a unified you making decisions. But underneath, automatic systems are running your heart, lungs, digestion, immune response, and thousands of other processes. Sleep simply removes the illusion. The prefrontal cortex powers down, and suddenly it becomes obvious that your body has been managing itself all along. The controllers during sleep: your brainstem, hypothalamus, thalamus, circadian rhythms, homeostatic drives, aren't invaders. They're the original management team. Your conscious mind is the newcomer, the evolutionary addition that helps with complex planning and social navigation. Sleep is when the experienced crew takes back the helm, and they know exactly what they're doing. We're beginning to understand now. Let's pause here and notice your body. As you breathe out slowly, appreciate each tiny cell inside. Trillions of organisms working in silence. Heart beating, lungs breathing, brain thinking, all without your command. Notice the gentle sensations on your skin, in your muscles, along your spine. You are a complete ecosystem, diverse, self-balancing, self-healing. These systems know how to rest. They're showing you how right now. Feel your heartbeat. Steady, automatic, trustworthy. Feel your breath, rising, falling. Knowing its own rhythm, your body has been taking care of you since before you had thoughts, since before you had language. Tonight, let it continue. You don't need to supervise. Now we continue. During deep sleep, your pituitary gland releases a surge of growth hormone. About 75% of your daily production happens during the first few hours of sleep. This hormone doesn't just help children grow. In adults, it repairs tissues, builds muscle, and strengthens bones. Your pituitary doesn't ask permission or check your schedule. It follows a program written into your circadian biology, pulsing growth hormone into your bloodstream when slow-wave sleep is deepest. Studies from the National Institutes of Health in 2024 confirmed that missing deep sleep, even one night, reduces growth hormone secretion by up to 30%. Your body is trying to heal you every night, running a repair program that only activates during sleep. You can't download this software manually. You have to surrender to sleep and let the installation run. While you sleep, your immune system produces and distributes infection-fighting cells called T cells at a much higher rate than during waking hours. Research from the University of Tübingen in 2024 demonstrated that deep sleep enhances the ability of T cells to attach to and destroy infected cells. The mechanism involves stress hormones like cortisol, which drop during sleep, allowing immune cells to work more effectively. Your body knows that nighttime is the safest period to allocate resources to immune function. You're stationary, protected, unlikely to encounter new threats. You don't strategize your immune response. Your circadian rhythm automatically shifts resources towards cellular defense every night. The controller protecting you from infection isn't vigilance. It's surrender to sleep. Every thought you had today created metabolic waste. Misfolded proteins, damaged cell components, oxidized molecules. During waking hours, these accumulate faster than your brain can clear them. Sleep is when the cleanup happens. Your glymphatic system, which we discussed earlier, removes these toxins at 10 times the rate of waking clearance. Research from 2024 linked insufficient sleep to accumulation of beta amyloid and tau proteins, the same proteins found in Alzheimer's disease. Your brain is literally flushing out tomorrow's dementia risk tonight. You can't manually activate this cleaning system through meditation, supplements, or willpower. It requires deep sleep, controlled by brain states you cannot consciously produce. Your long-term cognitive health depends on letting this automatic system do its work. Sleep regulates your blood sugar and insulin sensitivity in ways that have nothing to do with what you eat. During sleep, especially deep sleep, your cells become more responsive to insulin, allowing glucose to enter and fuel cellular processes efficiently. Studies from the University of Chicago in 2024 showed that just 4 nights of restricted sleep, less than 5 hours, reduced insulin sensitivity by 25%, equivalent to aging your metabolism by 20 years. Your pancreas and liver communicate with your circadian clock, coordinating glucose regulation with your sleep-wake cycle. You don't consciously manage your blood sugar levels. Your body has an automatic calibration process that runs during sleep. Chronic sleep deprivation breaks this calibration, increasing diabetes risk regardless of diet or exercise. Sleep controls your hunger through 2 hormones: ghrelin, which increases appetite, and leptin, which signals fullness. When you don't sleep enough, ghrelin rises and leptin falls, making you hungrier and less satisfied after eating. Brain imaging studies from 2024 showed that sleep-deprived people have heightened activity in reward centers when viewing high-calorie foods, while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for impulse control, shows reduced activity. You're not being weak-willed when you crave junk food after a bad night's sleep. Your hormonal system is literally pushing you toward calorie-dense foods because your body interprets sleep deprivation as a potential famine situation. The controller of your appetite isn't willpower. It's the quality and quantity of sleep you got last night. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, follows a 24-hour rhythm controlled by your circadian clock. It should peak about 30 minutes after you wake up, giving you energy and alertness, then gradually decline throughout the day, reaching its lowest point during the first half of your sleep. During deep sleep, cortisol production drops to nearly 0, allowing your body to rest and repair. Chronic sleep deprivation flattens this rhythm. keeping cortisol elevated even at night. Research from 2024 linked this disrupted cortisol rhythm to anxiety, depression, and cardiovascular disease. You can't will your cortisol down through positive thinking. Your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis controls this hormone automatically, and it only resets properly when you sleep deeply enough. Skills you practice today, whether playing an instrument, learning a language, or improving at a sport, are being refined in your brain right now as you rest. This process, called procedural memory consolidation, happens primarily during stage 2 sleep and involves the motor cortex, cerebellum, and basal ganglia replaying movement patterns. Studies from 2024 using brain stimulation during sleep showed that enhancing sleep spindles improved motor skill retention by up to 20%. You're not consciously practicing while you sleep, but your neural circuits are firing in the exact sequences needed to strengthen the skill. The controller improving your abilities isn't practice alone. It's the automated overnight training session your brain runs while you dream. Sleep doesn't just rest you, it teaches you. Sleep helps you gain perspective on emotional events by separating the memory from its emotional intensity. During REM sleep, your brain reactivates emotional memories in a neurochemical environment almost completely devoid of norepinephrine, the stress chemical. This allows you to process and integrate difficult experiences without re-traumatizing yourself. Research from UC Berkeley in 2024 demonstrated that REM sleep acts like overnight therapy, reducing the emotional charge of memories while preserving the informational content. You wake up remembering what happened, but it hurts less. You don't consciously perform this emotional surgery. Your brain does it automatically during REM cycles, knowing better than your waking mind when and how to process pain. The therapist healing your heart works the night shift. Sleep enhances creative problem solving by allowing your brain to form remote associations between seemingly unrelated concepts. During REM sleep, the reduced activity in your prefrontal cortex allows more chaotic, less linear thinking. Studies from MIT's Dream Lab in 2024 found that people awakened during REM sleep were 32% better at solving problems requiring creative insight compared to those awakened from other sleep stages. This is why you sometimes wake up with solutions to problems that stumped you yesterday. Your conscious, logical mind was too rigid to see the connection. Your dreaming mind, free from logical constraints and controlled by semi-random neural activation, found the creative leap you needed. Innovation happens when control loosens its grip. Sleep affects how you perceive social cues and regulate emotions in interactions. Research from 2024 using facial recognition tasks showed that sleep-deprived people are significantly worse at reading subtle emotional expressions and more likely to interpret neutral faces as threatening. The amygdala, your emotional alarm system, becomes hyperreactive after poor sleep, while the prefrontal cortex loses its ability to regulate that reactivity. You're not choosing to be irritable or paranoid after a sleepless night. Your social perception system is miscalibrated. Sleep recalibrates it automatically, fine-tuning the balance between emotional reactivity and cognitive control. The controller of your social success isn't charisma or effort. It's how well you slept last night. Sleep changes your pain threshold through mechanisms involving your endogenous opioid system and inflammatory pathways. Studies from 2024 demonstrated that just one night of poor sleep can increase pain sensitivity by up to 30%. while deep sleep enhances the production of natural pain-relieving chemicals. Your thalamus, which processes pain signals, becomes more sensitive when sleep-deprived, amplifying signals from injuries or chronic conditions. Meanwhile, sleep deprivation increases inflammatory markers like IL-6 and CRP, which sensitize pain pathways. You're not imagining that everything hurts more when you're tired. Your nervous system's pain amplifier is turned up, and only sleep can turn it back down. The controller of your pain experience isn't entirely the injury itself. It's the sleep you got before encountering it. Your metabolism is controlled by circadian clocks in every cell of your body, and sleep synchronizes them. Research published in Cell Metabolism in 2024 showed that genes controlling glucose metabolism, fat storage, and energy production all follow 24-hour rhythms that depend on consistent sleep timing. When you sleep at irregular times, staying up late, sleeping in on weekends, these cellular clocks fall out of sync with each other and with your master clock in the brain. This circadian misalignment reduces metabolic efficiency, increases fat storage, and raises diabetes risk. Even if total sleep duration is adequate, you can't manually synchronize your cellular clocks through diet or supplements. They require the time cue that only consistent sleep-wake patterns provide. Your breathing during sleep reveals which systems are in control. In stage 2 and deep sleep, breathing is perfectly regular, controlled by chemoreceptors in your brainstem that monitor blood oxygen and CO2 levels. But during REM sleep, breathing becomes irregular, sometimes rapid and shallow, sometimes with brief pauses, because your pons and limbic system are active, generating dreams. Research from 2024 using respiratory monitoring devices found that breathing variability during REM correlates with dream intensity and emotional content. You're essentially breathing your dreams, your respiratory pattern reflecting the emotional landscape of your sleeping mind. The controller isn't your conscious will. It's the interplay between ancient brainstem reflexes and the chaotic creativity of REM consciousness. You shift positions about 10 to 30 times per night, and these movements are controlled by an automatic system monitoring pressure points and comfort. During deep sleep, you move less because your arousal threshold is higher. During lighter sleep stages, you move more frequently. Studies from 2024 using pressure-sensitive mattresses found that these position changes prevent pressure ulcers, improve circulation, and may even help facilitate lymphatic drainage by alternating which side of the brain is most efficiently cleared. You're not consciously deciding to roll over. Brief micro-awakenings, too short to remember, allow your body to assess comfort and adjust position automatically, even in sleep. Your body is actively maintaining itself, controlled by sensory systems monitoring comfort you'll never consciously perceive. We're halfway through our journey, and the answer to what controls your mind when you sleep is becoming clearer. It's not a single dictator, but a collaborative network of ancient systems, brainstem reflexes, hormonal rhythms, cellular clocks, homeostatic drives, all working in harmony to repair, restore, reorganize, and prepare you for tomorrow. These systems don't need your conscious input. In fact, they work better without it. Your prefrontal cortex, that part of you that thinks it's running the show, is just one player in a much larger orchestra. And during sleep, it finally sits down and lets the rest of the ensemble play. the music that emerges, the healing, the learning, the emotional processing, is more sophisticated than any conscious strategy could achieve. You're still here with me, thoughts still flickering like candlelight in the gentle darkness. Just notice. Don't judge. Just notice where your mind is right now. We're exploring consciousness itself together. The very thing doing the exploring in this moment. Strange, beautiful, and perfectly calm. Let's drift onward together. By now you've noticed there isn't one controller during sleep, but many systems working together. Your brainstem manages vital functions. Your hypothalamus regulates temperature and hormones. Your thalamus gates sensory information. Your hippocampus consolidates memories. Your pons generates REM and paralysis. Your suprachiasmatic nucleus keeps circadian time. Each system operates semi-independently, following its own programming, while coordinating with the others through chemical signals and neural pathways. This distributed control is actually more sophisticated than centralized control could ever be. No single failure point can crash the system. If one pathway is damaged, others compensate. Evolution designed sleep as a team effort, not a monarchy, and the team has been practicing for millions of years, perfecting their coordination long before consciousness evolved to watch. Sleep isn't binary. You're not simply awake or asleep. You exist on a spectrum of consciousness that includes drowsiness, light sleep, deep sleep, REM dreaming, and various microstates in between. Research from 2024 using machine learning to analyze EEG patterns identified at least 12 distinct brain states during typical sleep. Your brain flows through these states, like water moving between ice, liquid, and vapor, never quite holding still. The controller isn't making discrete on-off decisions. It's modulating arousal levels continuously, responding to internal and external signals, finding the optimal state for each moment's needs. You might briefly surface toward wakefulness, then sink back down, dozens of times per night, dancing along the edge of consciousness without ever fully landing. We still don't fully understand why we dream, but we know dreaming involves your brain generating vivid experiences without external input. During REM sleep, your visual cortex activates intensely. Your emotional centers fire wildly, but your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic and self-awareness, stays quiet. This creates the bizarre logic of dreams. Impossible things seem normal. Identities shift. Laws of physics don't apply. Studies from 2024 suggest dreams may be your brain's way of exploring what-if scenarios, simulating threats and social situations to better prepare for waking life. Or maybe dreams are just noise, your brain making stories from random neural static. Either way, you don't control the narrative. The dreaming mind creates its own reality, unconstrained by conscious intention or logic. Sometimes during dreams, a part of your prefrontal cortex briefly reactivates, and you become aware that you're dreaming. This is called lucid dreaming, and it demonstrates that consciousness exists on a continuum even during sleep. Research from 2024 using fMRI during lucid dreams showed increased activity in the frontopolar cortex, a region associated with self-reflection and metacognition. In lucid dreams, you can sometimes exert control over the dream narrative, deciding to fly, changing the scenery, confronting nightmares directly. But most people rarely achieve lucidity. And even when they do, it's fragile and fleeting. The dreaming mind resists control, preferring its own chaotic creativity. Lucid dreaming proves consciousness can flicker on during sleep, but control remains elusive and unstable, easily lost. Nightmares, though unpleasant, serve an adaptive function by allowing you to rehearse responses to threats in a safe environment. Your amygdala generates fear scenarios during REM sleep, activating the same neural circuits used in real threat responses. Studies from 2024 suggest people who experience moderate nightmares show better emotional regulation and stress resilience than those who never dream of frightening scenarios. Your brain is essentially running disaster drills, testing your psychological responses to abandonment, failure, danger, loss. You don't choose these scenarios consciously. Your amygdala pulls from your deepest fears and anxieties, forcing you to confront them when your conscious defenses are down. The controller isn't trying to torture you. It's trying to prepare you for real threats by simulating them safely. That groggy, disoriented feeling when you first wake up is called sleep inertia, and it can last anywhere from 1 minute to 4 hours depending on which sleep stage you woke from. If you're pulled from deep sleep, your prefrontal cortex takes longer to fully reactivate, leaving you temporarily impaired in decision-making and reaction time. Studies from 2024 found that sleep inertia can reduce cognitive performance by up to 50% in the first few minutes after waking. You can't simply will yourself to full alertness. Your brain needs time to shift metabolic resources, increase blood flow to the cortex, and clear sleep-promoting chemicals like adenosine from neural circuits. The transition from sleep to waking is gradual, controlled by automatic processes, not instant willpower. Whether you're a morning person or night owl is largely controlled by genetics, not habit or discipline. Your chronotype, your natural sleep-wake preference, is determined by variations in genes like PER3, clock, and CRY1 that affect circadian timing. Research from 2024, analyzing genetic data from over 1 million people, identified 351 genetic regions associated with chronotype. About 15% of people are natural early birds, 15% are night owls, and 70% fall somewhere in between. You can't fundamentally change your chronotype through willpower, though you can shift it slightly with consistent light exposure and sleep scheduling. Fighting your natural chronotype leads to chronic sleep deprivation and health problems. The controller of when you're most alert isn't your work schedule or intentions. It's written in your DNA. Most people experience social jet lag, the mismatch between their biological sleep time and their social obligations. If you naturally want to sleep from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m., but have to wake at 6 a.m. for work, you're forcing your body to operate on a schedule that conflicts with your internal clock. Studies from 2024 linked social jet lag to increased risk of obesity, diabetes, depression, and cardiovascular disease. You're not being lazy if you struggle with early mornings despite adequate sleep hours. Your circadian rhythm is out of sync with your schedule, creating internal stress. The controller of your energy levels isn't motivation or coffee. It's the alignment between your biological clock and your actual sleep schedule. Sleep debt accumulates like financial debt, and you can't fully repay it with one good night's rest. Research from 2024 tracking cognitive performance after periods of sleep restriction, found that even after 3 nights of recovery sleep, participants hadn't returned to baseline functioning. Chronic sleep restriction causes cellular changes in the brain that take weeks to reverse. You might feel better after sleeping in on the weekend, but metabolic markers, immune function, and neural connectivity patterns remain impaired. Your body keeps an accurate accounting of sleep debt, and it extracts payment through reduced health and cognitive function. The controller of this debt system is biological, not psychological. You can't negotiate with sleep pressure or trick your circadian rhythm into forgiveness. Halfway through our journey, we see the answer forming clearly. Sleep is controlled by multiple integrated systems, each following ancient programming, coordinating through chemical and electrical signals, responding to internal and external cues. These systems don't ask permission from your conscious mind because they predate consciousness by hundreds of millions of years. They know how to heal your body, organize your memories, process your emotions, and prepare you for tomorrow. Fighting these systems through caffeine, screens, irregular schedules, or simple stubbornness creates suffering and disease. Surrendering to them creates healing and resilience. The profound insight here is that loss of control during sleep isn't failure. It's wisdom. Letting go is how you let these ancient systems do the work they were designed to do. And they do it perfectly. Every single night, if you just allow them. Let each breath guide you to realize time is yours, a separate stream that only you are living, while the vast universe continues to spin, expand, change. This second you're breathing, listening, is unique. Feel the stillness at the center of time, the quiet eye of the temporal storm. Past and future are stories. This breath is real. Your mind might wander to tomorrow's worries, yesterday's regrets. Let those thoughts drift like clouds across the sky. You are the sky, not the clouds. Vast, unchanging, present. Cherish the present moment, knowing that right now, your time is unique in the universe, and we continue drifting. Newborn babies sleep 16 to 18 hours per day, mostly in REM sleep. This makes sense because REM sleep is when neural connections form most rapidly. Their brains are building the wiring diagram that will support consciousness, language, and movement. As babies grow, their sleep architecture gradually shifts. Less REM, more deep sleep, longer cycles. By adulthood, the pattern stabilizes into the 90-minute cycles we've discussed. But the basic program running your sleep tonight is the same program that ran when you were 3 months old. Your brain still knows how to sleep perfectly, just as it did before you learned to walk or talk. That infant wisdom never left. It's still there, beneath your thoughts, waiting for you to trust it again. As you age, your sleep architecture changes in predictable ways. Older adults spend less time in deep sleep and more time in lighter stages. They wake more frequently during the night. Their circadian rhythms shift earlier, making them sleepier in the evening and wakeful at dawn. These changes aren't disease. They're normal aging of the sleep control systems. The suprachiasmatic nucleus loses cells gradually. Melatonin production decreases. Sleep becomes more fragmented. But the need for sleep doesn't decrease. Older adults need just as much total sleep as younger ones. The controller is aging like the rest of the body. becoming less efficient but still functional, still trying to deliver the rest you need. Women's sleep is controlled by additional hormonal cycles that men don't experience. The menstrual cycle affects sleep architecture, with more disrupted sleep in the luteal phase, week before menstruation, when progesterone drops. Pregnancy dramatically changes sleep through the first trimester. Excessive sleepiness. Second trimester, best sleep. And third trimester, frequent waking. Menopause often brings insomnia and hot flashes that disrupt sleep for years. Studies from 2024 found that women report worse sleep quality than men, despite showing better sleep efficiency on objective measures. The controller of women's sleep must navigate hormonal complexity that men's sleep systems never encounter. Same basic machinery, different chemical environment, different challenges. Your sleep system adapts to whatever body it's managing. Your sleep changes with the seasons, responding to day length, even if you never go outside. In winter, people naturally sleep about 30 minutes longer than in summer and spend more time in REM sleep. This pattern matches what our ancestors experienced before electric lighting. Longer nights meant more sleep. Your suprachiasmatic nucleus tracks photoperiod, day length, through light exposure, reaching those specialized retinal cells. Even indoor lighting contains enough signal for your brain to know it's December or June. The controller adjusts your sleep needs seasonally, pushing you toward hibernation rhythms in winter, alertness in summer. Modern life ignores these signals, but they're still there, quietly trying to align your rest with the turning earth. At high altitude, sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented as your body adapts to lower oxygen levels. Your breathing control center becomes more sensitive, sometimes causing periodic breathing, cycles of rapid breathing followed by pauses. This disrupts sleep architecture, reducing deep sleep percentage and increasing awakenings. Studies from 2024 on high-altitude climbers found it takes 2 to 3 weeks for sleep to normalize at extreme elevations. Your brainstem is trying to balance two priorities: maintaining sleep and maintaining oxygen levels. When oxygen drops, breathing control takes precedence. Fragmenting sleep, the controller prioritizes survival over rest. A hierarchy you can't override through willpower or sleep aids. Physical exercise improves sleep quality, but the relationship is more complex than you might think. Exercise doesn't just tire you out physically. It affects body temperature, circadian timing, adenosine accumulation, and stress hormone levels. Research from 2024 found that the timing of exercise matters significantly. Morning exercise advances your circadian rhythm, makes you sleepier earlier, while evening exercise can delay it. Intense exercise within 2 hours of bedtime can elevate core temperature and cortisol, making sleep harder. Your sleep system is responding to multiple signals from exercise, integrating them into the overall calculation of when and how deeply to sleep. The controller isn't simple fatigue. It's a sophisticated response to metabolic and thermal signals from physical activity. Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours, meaning if you drink coffee at 4 p.m., half the caffeine is still in your system at 10 p.m. But individual variation is enormous. Some people metabolize caffeine 3 times faster than others due to genetic differences in liver enzymes. Studies from 2024 found that slow metabolizers drinking coffee after noon show measurably worse sleep quality. even if they feel fine. Your conscious awareness can't detect how caffeine is affecting your sleep architecture. You might fall asleep normally, but your deep sleep percentage drops and awakenings increase. The controller responding to caffeine is your adenosine receptors, blocked for hours after your last sip. Beyond your conscious perception, alcohol makes you drowsy initially, but severely disrupts sleep quality later in the night. It enhances GABA, an inhibitory neurotransmitter, which induces drowsiness. But as your liver metabolizes alcohol, withdrawal effects fragment sleep, reduce REM sleep, and increase sympathetic nervous system activity. Research from 2024 using sleep trackers found that even 2 drinks significantly reduce sleep quality, especially in the second half of the night. You might not remember waking up, but your brain never reaches the deepest, most restorative stages. The controller isn't fooled by alcohol's sedative effect. Your sleep regulation systems know the difference between natural sleep and chemically induced unconsciousness. One heals, the other doesn't. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production more effectively than any other wavelength. Your intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells are most sensitive to light around 480 nanometers. In the blue wavelength range that LED screens emit abundantly, between 450 to 495 nanometers. Even 1 hour of screen time before bed can delay melatonin onset by up to 90 minutes and reduce total melatonin production by 50%. Studies from 2024 found that using night mode or blue blocking glasses only partially mitigates the effect. Your circadian system interprets screen light as daytime. Regardless of the clock, the controller doesn't care what you're reading on your phone. It only knows. Bright blue light equals stay awake. Your intentions don't override biology. Your sleep quality is affected by temperature, light, sound, and air quality in ways you don't consciously perceive. The ideal bedroom temperature for sleep is 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, cooler than most people keep it. Even dim light can suppress melatonin through closed eyelids. Noise as quiet as 40 decibels. A quiet library can fragment sleep without waking you fully. Poor air quality reduces sleep efficiency and increases sleep-disordered breathing. Research from 2024 using smart home sensors found that optimizing all 4 environmental factors improved sleep efficiency by an average of 12%. Your sleep system is constantly monitoring these variables through sensory pathways that never report to consciousness, adjusting arousal levels automatically. Without asking your opinion, your circadian rhythm creates 2 daily windows when falling asleep is easiest. One in mid-afternoon, the post-lunch dip, and one in the evening, your natural bedtime. These windows correspond to dips in core body temperature and peaks in melatonin for the evening window. Research from 2024 tracking sleep onset times found that people who try to sleep outside these windows take 3 times longer to fall asleep and experience worse sleep quality. Your controller has preferred timing, and fighting it creates frustration and insomnia. This is why shift workers struggle so profoundly. They're being asked to sleep when every signal in their body is screaming, "Stay awake." The system resists, always, because it knows better. Napping can be restorative or disruptive, depending on timing and duration. A 20-minute nap in early afternoon clears some adenosine, improving alertness without entering deep sleep. But napping longer than 30 minutes or later than 3 p.m. reduces sleep pressure for nighttime, making it harder to fall asleep. Studies from 2024 found that people who nap regularly often have fragmented nighttime sleep. Your homeostatic sleep drive doesn't care when you sleep. It only tracks total sleep pressure. Releasing that pressure during the day means less pressure at night. The controller is simple accounting. Sleep is sleep, whenever it occurs. Your preference for sleeping at night is cultural and circadian, not homeostatic. Lying awake worrying activates your prefrontal cortex and sympathetic nervous system, creating a feedback loop that prevents sleep. The more you worry about not sleeping, the more alert you become. Cognitive arousal increases cortisol and norepinephrine, both wake-promoting chemicals. Research from 2024 on insomnia found that cognitive behavioral therapy works better than medication, precisely because it breaks this mental loop. The techniques: getting out of bed if you can't sleep, associating bed only with sleep, accepting rather than fighting wakefulness. All work by reducing the activation of conscious control systems. Your worried thoughts are the problem, not because they're inherently stressful, but because thinking itself activates wake-promoting networks. The controller you need to quiet is your own prefrontal cortex. Sleep efficiency is the percentage of time in bed actually spent asleep. Healthy adults should have 85% or higher efficiency. Lower efficiency suggests either difficulty falling asleep, frequent awakenings, or early morning waking. All symptoms of insomnia. But it's important to understand, these awakenings aren't always pathological. Brief arousals are normal. The problem is when arousal escalates into full wakefulness and cognitive engagement. Studies from 2024 using EEG found that good sleepers and insomniacs have similar numbers of brief awakenings. But insomniacs amplify them through worry and hyper-arousal. The controller determining whether you fall back asleep or stay awake isn't the awakening itself. It's how your cognitive and emotional systems respond to it. When your sleep schedule conflicts with your circadian rhythm, as happens with night shift work, jet lag, or social jet lag, your body experiences internal desynchronization. Different organs and tissues have their own circadian clocks, and they all try to follow the master clock in your suprachiasmatic nucleus. But when you force sleep at the wrong circadian time, these peripheral clocks fall out of sync with each other and with the master clock. Research from 2024 linked this desynchronization to increased cancer risk, metabolic disease, and cognitive decline. You might adapt behaviorally to a night schedule, but your cellular clocks resist. The controller isn't your work schedule or social obligations. It's billions of years of evolution optimized for sleeping at night. Sleep disorders reveal what happens when control systems malfunction. In sleep apnea, the brainstem's breathing pattern becomes irregular during sleep, causing brief pauses that the body automatically corrects by waking briefly. In narcolepsy, the arousal system collapses unpredictably, plunging people into sleep during daytime. In REM sleep behavior disorder, the paralysis mechanism doesn't work properly, causing people to act out dreams physically. These aren't psychological problems. They're hardware malfunctions in the sleep control machinery. Treatment often requires external intervention. Breathing machines for apnea, stimulants for narcolepsy, medications for REM disorder. When the automatic systems break, you can't fix them through willpower or sleep hygiene. The controller, when damaged, needs repair from the outside. Sleep's autonomy is both its strength and its vulnerability. Why did sleep evolve at all? It seems dangerous. Unconscious animals are vulnerable to predators, yet every animal sleeps, suggesting the benefits outweigh the risks enormously. Current theories suggest sleep evolved for energy conservation, predator avoidance during low visibility periods, and synaptic homeostasis, pruning excess neural connections. Research from 2024, comparing sleep across 300 species, found that amount and timing of sleep correlate with diet, predation risk, and brain size. Humans sleep less than most primates, but consolidate it into one long nocturnal period. Our sleep architecture: lots of REM for learning, significant deep sleep for physical restoration, reflects our unique evolutionary pressures. The controller designed your sleep for the environment your ancestors inhabited for millions of years. During sleep, your brain doesn't just strengthen important neural connections. It weakens and eliminates unused ones. This synaptic pruning prevents your brain from becoming saturated with information, maintaining signal-to-noise ratio. Studies from 2024 using electron microscopy showed that synaptic connections shrink by about 18% during sleep, with the weakest connections being eliminated entirely. You wake with a leaner, more efficient neural network. This pruning is automatic, controlled by homeostatic mechanisms that track synaptic strength. You don't decide which connections to keep or discard. Your sleeping brain makes these edits based on usage patterns from waking hours. The controller sculpting your neural landscape works invisibly, reshaping your brain's architecture while you dream. The phrase "sleep on it" has scientific validity. Research from 2024 found that people are 33% more likely to solve problems requiring insight after sleeping, compared to staying awake for the same duration. Sleep doesn't just consolidate what you learned, it reorganizes it, forming new associations and revealing hidden patterns. The mechanism involves memory reactivation during sleep, allowing the brain to discover relationships between seemingly unrelated information. You don't consciously work on problems while sleeping. Your unconscious mind, free from the constraints of logical sequential thinking, explores the solution space more creatively. The controller finding these insights isn't effort. It's the automatic associative processing that sleep enables through reduced prefrontal control. Sleep helps you forget as much as it helps you remember. This isn't a flaw. It's essential. Your brain is bombarded with far more information each day than you could possibly store. Sleep allows your hippocampus to consolidate important memories to cortex while letting trivial details fade. Studies from 2024 suggest that REM sleep may actively erase certain memories by weakening synapses associated with irrelevant or emotionally neutral information. You wake remembering the meeting's key points, but not what your colleague wore. The controller, deciding what to forget, operates on principles you never consciously considered. Emotional significance, repetition, novelty, relevance to existing knowledge. Trust this automatic curation. It's protecting you from drowning in trivia. In tribal societies, people often sleep in groups, with sleep-wake cycles naturally staggering, so that someone is always lightly sleeping or awake. A natural security system. Research on modern hunter-gatherers in 2024 found they average only 5 to 7 hours of sleep individually, but maintain 24-hour vigilance as a group. Humans may have evolved for communal sleeping, where collective security allowed deeper individual rest. Modern isolated sleeping might actually be evolutionarily novel, potentially contributing to lighter, more anxious sleep. The controller of your ancestors' sleep operated in a social context, coordinating with others, trusting the group's collective vigilance. You sleep alone in locked rooms, carrying the entire burden of security yourself, and your nervous system feels the difference. During sleep, your thalamus actively filters which sensory information reaches your cortex. Familiar sounds, a partner's breathing, a clock ticking, are suppressed. Novel or threatening sounds, a baby crying, an alarm, your name being called, can penetrate the filter and wake you. This selective filtering is automatic, controlled by learned associations about which stimuli are relevant. Studies from 2024 showed that parents become sensitized to their own baby's cry within weeks, waking to softer crying sounds than before. You don't consciously program this filter. Your brain learns through experience which sounds matter and which don't, adjusting the filter every night. The controller protecting your sleep while maintaining threat vigilance is ancient pattern recognition, refined through thousands of generations. During sleep, your immune system doesn't just fight infections. It forms memories of pathogens it encountered during the day. T cells and B cells undergo clonal expansion during sleep, creating memory cells that will recognize threats faster in the future. Research from 2024 demonstrated that people vaccinated before sleeping show stronger antibody responses than those vaccinated before staying awake. Your immune system uses sleep time to study and remember threats, building a defense library that lasts decades. You're not consciously managing this learning. Your adaptive immune system automatically reviews the day's encounters, deciding which cellular patterns to remember and which to ignore. The controller learning to protect you from disease doesn't ask permission. It just needs sleep. During deep sleep, your heart rate drops to its lowest point, typically 40 to 50 beats per minute in healthy adults. This reduction isn't just rest. It's active cardiovascular recovery. Your parasympathetic nervous system dominates, lowering blood pressure, reducing cardiac workload, and allowing arterial repair. Studies from 2024 linked insufficient deep sleep to increased risk of hypertension and cardiac events. Your autonomic nervous system uses sleep to shift from sympathetic stress to parasympathetic rest and digest dominance, giving your cardiovascular system essential recovery time. You don't manually slow your heart rate during sleep. Your vagus nerve takes command automatically, knowing better than any conscious strategy how to rest your hardest working muscle. The controller healing your heart works the night shift. We now understand clearly. Sleep is controlled by an integrated network of ancient systems that predate conscious thought by hundreds of millions of years. These systems, brainstem reflexes, circadian rhythms, homeostatic drives, hormonal cascades, immune functions, memory consolidators, work in sophisticated coordination, managing hundreds of processes simultaneously. Your conscious mind, that recent evolutionary addition that narrates your waking life, is completely unnecessary for these processes. In fact, it's an obstacle. The most healing sleep happens when you stop trying to control it. When you surrender to these ancient systems and trust their wisdom. Loss of control during sleep isn't failure or vulnerability. It's access to a deeper intelligence that knows exactly what your body and mind need. And it's been taking care of you perfectly every night of your life. You might be feeling tired now. That's perfectly fine. Exactly as it should be. Breathe slowly. Feel the cycles moving through you. Your breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. A rhythm older than thought. Your heart. Beating, resting, beating, resting. A cycle older than language. Your sleep. Waking, sleeping, waking, sleeping. A pattern older than consciousness. Everything moves in circles. Planets orbit stars. Seasons rotate. Waves rise and fall. Like your breath. Like your heartbeat. Like the tides that pulled at primordial seas before life even existed. You are also part of that eternal movement. You don't need to hold on to anything. Let everything unfold in its perfect order. Like planets silently rotating in their orbits. Unhurried, unresisting. Simply existing in the great turning of all things. We're almost there now. Sleep asks one thing of you. Let go. Let go of the day's worries. Tomorrow's plans. The need to be productive or useful. Let go of control itself. Your conscious mind wants to manage, optimize, improve. But sleep doesn't need management. It needs absence. The less you try, the better it works. Fighting sleep creates wakefulness. Accepting sleep invites rest. This paradox frustrates the controlling mind endlessly. But your body already knows the secret. It's been practicing surrender since before you had words for it. Your cells remember. Your breath remembers. Trust them now. Every night since you were born, you've performed an act of profound trust. Closing your eyes, releasing consciousness, surrendering to vulnerability. For 8 hours, you're defenseless, yet you do it anyway because your biology insists. Your ancestors did this under far more dangerous circumstances. Predators, enemies, harsh weather. They trusted sleep enough to survive, to pass on their genes, to become you. That same trust lives in your cells. Sleep is the oldest faith, requiring no belief, no ritual, only the courage to close your eyes and fall. Darkness isn't the enemy of sleep. It's the invitation. Your eyes evolved to detect light, but your pineal gland evolved to detect darkness. When shadows lengthen and blue light fades, your body interprets this as safety, as permission to rest. Modern life floods you with artificial light, confusing these ancient signals. But turn off the lights, close the curtains, embrace the dark, and your body remembers what darkness means. Rest, restoration, renewal. Darkness is where healing happens, where dreams are born. Welcome it. Your body knows when it needs sleep before your mind acknowledges it. Yawning, heavy eyelids, slowed thinking. These aren't suggestions. They're announcements. Your brain is already preparing for sleep, releasing adenosine, cooling your core, shifting neurotransmitter balance. You can override these signals with caffeine or stimulation, but you can't eliminate them. They return stronger, more insistent. Eventually, your body takes what it needs. Micro-sleeps during driving. Automatic behaviors with no memory. Sleep deprivation doesn't make you stronger. it makes you dangerous. Listen to your body's wisdom. It's older than your willpower. Dreams speak in images, emotions, sensations. Language is older than words. Your dreaming mind doesn't analyze or explain. It shows and feels. A childhood home represents safety. Falling represents loss of control. Flying represents freedom. These symbols aren't universal. They're personal, shaped by your experiences and fears. Your unconscious uses dreams to process what your waking mind can't articulate. Listen to their emotional truth, not their literal content. Dreams aren't messages to decode. They're experiences to feel, to integrate, to let flow through you like water. Sleep heals in darkness what daylight cannot reach. Deep cellular repair, immune system strengthening, emotional processing, memory consolidation, all happen best when consciousness retreats. Your body has a night crew that works while the day crew rests. This crew doesn't need supervision. They've been doing this work for millions of years, perfecting their craft in the dark. Turn off the lights, close your eyes, and trust the night crew. They know what they're doing. They've been healing you every night since before you knew your own name. Your breath is the bridge between waking and sleeping, between control and surrender. Watch it slow as sleep approaches. Deeper, softer, more rhythmic. You don't have to force this. Simply observe. Notice how breathing becomes automatic, managed by your brainstem. No effort required. Each exhale releases a little more tension. Each inhale brings you closer to rest. Your breath knows the way to sleep. It's walked this path every night of your life. Follow it now, gently, without hurry. As sleep deepens, your body grows heavy. Limbs sink into mattress. Muscles release their constant tension. Bones settle into gravity's embrace. This heaviness isn't weakness. It's trust. Your body trusts the bed to hold you, the room to protect you, the night to restore you. Fighting this heaviness keeps you awake. Accepting it invites sleep. Feel that weight now. Notice how your body wants to sink, to settle, to rest. Let gravity do its work. You don't need to hold yourself up anymore. Let go. Thoughts don't disappear at sleep onset. They dissolve. Sharp edges blur. Logic loosens. One thought melts into another without connection or consequence. This dissolution isn't failure. It's transition. Your prefrontal cortex is powering down, releasing its grip on coherent thinking. Trying to hold thoughts together keeps you awake. Letting them drift, merge, and fade allows sleep. Notice your thoughts now. Are they clear or foggy? Linear or wandering? Don't fix them. Don't follow them. Just watch them dissolve like sugar in warm water, one by one. Your senses quiet. The room's sounds soften to background hum. The mattress beneath you loses distinction. Even your body's boundaries blur. You're not quite sure where your hand ends and the blanket begins. This sensory dissolution is your thalamus filtering inputs, deciding what's safe to ignore. You're still sensing. Your brain monitors threats. But conscious awareness releases the details. The world becomes distant, dreamlike, unimportant. Let it fade. You don't need to track everything. Sleep is watching over you now. Time behaves strangely at sleep's edge. Minutes feel like hours. Hours vanish in seconds. You drift for what seems like moments and discover 30 minutes have passed. This temporal confusion is your brain releasing its grip on sequential time tracking. Your prefrontal cortex normally constructs time's flow, but as it quiets, time becomes fluid, meaningless. Don't check the clock. Don't count minutes. Time doesn't matter here. There's only now, this breath, this moment of quiet dissolution. Past and future both dissolve in sleep's timeless present. Your primitive brain constantly scans for danger, even in sleep. But in this moment, in this safe space, there is no threat. Your nervous system is reading hundreds of signals, familiar sounds, comfortable temperature, secure location, and concluding, safe. This safety allows your arousal system to power down, your cortisol to drop, your heart rate to slow. You're safe here. Your body knows it. Your thinking mind might doubt, but your cells trust. Feel that safety now. Let it sink into your bones. You can rest. Right at sleep's edge. Strange things happen. You might see images with your eyes closed. Faces. Landscapes. Abstract patterns. These are hypnagogic hallucinations. Your visual cortex beginning to generate internal imagery. You might feel like you're falling or floating. Your sense of body position becomes unreliable. This is normal, harmless, even beautiful. You're crossing from the waking world into the dream realm. Don't fight these sensations. They're signposts showing you're almost there. Let them carry you forward. Sleep is just beyond this threshold. Your muscles have been holding tension all day. Shoulders raised, jaw clenched, fists curled. Sleep asks them to let go. One by one, muscle groups release. Your shoulders, hands, abdomen, legs. This release is automatic, controlled by your parasympathetic nervous system. But you can help by noticing. Scan your body now. Where are you still holding? Can you soften just a little more? You don't need to grip anything. The bed holds you. The night protects you. Let your muscles remember rest. So could sleep be controlled differently? Could you take charge? Manage it. Optimize it. The answer has been forming throughout this journey. No. Sleep resists control. The more you try to manage it, the more it eludes you. But here's the deeper truth. You don't need to control it. Sleep knows what to do. These ancient systems have perfected their craft over millions of years. Your job isn't to control. It's to trust, to surrender, to let these wise systems do what they were designed to do. And they do it perfectly. Every time you let them. There's strength in surrender that control can never achieve. When you release your grip, when you stop trying to force or manage or optimize, you access a deeper power, your body's wisdom, your brain's automatic healing, your cell's innate intelligence, all waiting for permission to work. That permission is surrender, not weakness or giving up, but trust in systems older and wiser than conscious thought. The strongest thing you can do tonight is nothing. Just breathe. Just rest. Just allow the ancient systems to carry you into healing sleep. Every living thing sleeps or enters dormant states. Trees slow their metabolism at night. Bacteria have circadian rhythms. Even single-celled organisms rest. Sleep is woven into the fabric of life itself. as fundamental as eating or breathing. When you sleep, you join this cosmic rhythm. Billions of organisms entering rest simultaneously as your hemisphere turns away from the sun. You're not alone in this. The whole living world is breathing with you, resting with you, healing with you, part of something vast and ancient. Night gives what daylight cannot. Restoration, dreams, healing, renewal. Your waking hours are for doing, achieving, striving. Your sleeping hours are for being, receiving, becoming. Both are necessary. Both are sacred. Modern culture values productivity over rest, action over stillness. But your body knows better. Night isn't wasted time. It's when your deepest work happens. Cellular repair, memory formation, emotional integration, immune strengthening. The gifts of night arrive only in darkness, only in sleep, only in surrender. Sleep makes a promise. You will wake renewed, not necessarily energized or happy, but different than you are now. Sleep changes you in ways waking rest never could. You'll wake with a reorganized brain, a restored body, a reset nervous system. Problems that seemed insurmountable tonight might look different tomorrow. Emotions that felt overwhelming might settle. Your sleeping brain is already preparing for tomorrow, already solving, healing, integrating. Trust this process. Trust that morning comes. Trust that you'll wake. Sleep keeps its promises. Stop trying to sleep. Just be. Stop counting breaths or relaxing muscles or emptying your mind. These are all forms of doing, and sleep requires not doing. Simply exist here, in this moment, without agenda or goal. If sleep comes, it comes. If it doesn't yet, that's okay too. The less you care about the outcome, the closer sleep gets. This isn't reverse psychology. It's truth. Sleep arrives in the space between wanting and not wanting, in the pause, in the letting be. As sleep deepens, the sense of you begins to blur. The boundary between self and not self softens. Are you, the thoughts, the breath, the sensation of sheets, none of these, all of these, it doesn't matter. Self is a construct your waking mind maintains. Sleep lets it dissolve. This dissolution isn't death or loss. It's freedom. Freedom from the constant work of being someone. Tonight, you don't have to be anyone. You can just be. Formless, boundless, at peace. Let yourself dissolve into rest. Each night when you sleep, you return to a state humans have known for hundreds of thousands of years. Your ancestors slept under stars, in caves, in trees, by fires. They felt the same surrender you feel now, the same trust, the same release. This isn't new. This is the oldest human ritual. Billions of humans before you closed their eyes and let go, just as you're doing now. You're part of an unbroken chain of sleepers, stretching back to the beginning. You know how to do this. You've always known. Trust sleep's intelligence. Trust your body's wisdom. Trust that rest will come when it's time. Trust that systems you cannot see or understand are working perfectly beneath consciousness. Trust that healing happens in darkness. Trust that you are safe. Trust that morning arrives. Trust that this night, like every night before it, will pass. Trust that you are held by something larger than your thoughts. Trust, trust, trust. Trust. This is the final lesson. This is the answer. This is the way. Peace is available right now. Not in the future when you finally fall asleep, but in this present moment, in this breath, in this soft darkness, in the gentle weight of blankets. Peace isn't a destination. It's recognizing what's already here. You don't have to wait for sleep to rest. You can rest right now, awake or asleep. In this peaceful moment, feel it. This is enough. You are enough. This moment is enough. Peace is already here. What controls your mind when you sleep? Everything and nothing. Ancient systems, automatic processes, evolutionary programming. Yes, but also mystery. Scientists have mapped sleep's mechanisms, but the essence remains beyond grasp. Why does consciousness fade? Where do dreams come from? What is the self that dissolves each night and reassembles each morning? These questions have no final answers, and maybe that's the deepest truth. You don't need to understand sleep to experience it. You don't need to control it to receive its gifts. You just need to close your eyes and trust the mystery. And the mystery has been waiting for you all along. And so, our quiet journey through the sleeping mind comes to a gentle close. We've traveled from the moment consciousness fades and your prefrontal cortex powers down, to the ancient systems in your brainstem that take command. Discovering along the way that sleep isn't about losing control. It's about accessing a deeper wisdom. From adenosine building in neural circuits to glymphatic systems flushing toxins in the dark. From dreams processing emotions to immune cells learning and remembering. We've glimpsed how sleep is both surrender and sophisticated healing. The mind that controls your sleep is older than thought, wiser than intention, more trustworthy than any conscious strategy you could devise. Sleep reminds us that control is an illusion we maintain during daylight hours. Much of the most important work, healing, learning, integrating, becoming, happens in darkness and silence. In spaces consciousness cannot reach, it reveals patience, trust, and the wisdom of letting go. Without sleep's nightly dissolution of the waking self, we would never discover who we truly are beneath our thoughts. By pausing to notice, we glimpse the extraordinary intelligence operating beneath ordinary awareness. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can, as deep as possible. Think about unity of every sleeping person across the world right now. Billions of minds dissolving into rest simultaneously. Billions of bodies healing in darkness. Think about consciousness itself. Yours. Mine. Everyone listening. All awareness everywhere. Perhaps all connected in ways we don't yet understand. You are not alone in the universe of minds. You are part of the vast ocean of consciousness. And tonight you return to the source. Let your entire being dissolve into the ocean of awareness, into dreamless rest, into the space before thought, before self, before separation. Prepare for deep sleep. No boundaries left. Only peace. Only presence. Only this. If this thoughtful exploration of the sleeping mind brought you peace or helped you drift tonight, a gentle like or subscribe helps other sleepless souls discover this sanctuary too. It might be exactly what another restless mind needs to finally let go and trust. One quiet tap, one peaceful night at a time. But there's no need to do anything now. Nothing at all. You've traveled far tonight. deeper than most journeys take you. You can allow these thoughts about sleep and consciousness to fade now, like morning mist dissolving in sunlight, leaving only the gentle calm behind. Let your breathing deepen naturally, without effort, without trying. Let your body feel heavier, as if gravity itself is growing stronger, pulling you down into the soft mattress, into the earth, into rest. If sleep comes, let it carry you like a leaf on a slow river, smoothly, inevitably, into a realm where time and weight and thought no longer matter. If your eyes are still open, another video is waiting for you, ready to continue this journey. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm. Tomorrow, these questions about consciousness and control will still be there. The mystery of sleep will still wait to be explored. But tonight belongs to stillness. Tonight belongs to surrender. Tonight belongs to you. Rest well, peaceful one. And remember, what controls your mind when you sleep is the same ancient wisdom that grew you from a single cell, that beats your heart without asking, that heals your wounds while you dream. You have always been held by something wiser than thought. You have always been safe in the dark. You have always known how to let go. Dream deep with sleep science. Fall asleep fast with psychology. Relax. Listen and drift into sleep. Good night.